UN humanitarian coordinator expresses commitment to mobilize resources to address humanitarian assistance in Ethiopia. And also this hour, Ethiopian athletes sweep the podium in the women's 5,000 meters race at All African Games in Accra, Ghana. Hello and welcome to BC World. I'm Oscar Umat now for the hour's latest. The newly appointed Kenyan ambassador to Ethiopia emphasized the strengthening of their long-standing relationship with Ethiopia, highlighting the country's history and the numerous cooperation agreements signed between the two nations. George Kwanye highlighted the special status agreement signed in 2012 and the ongoing projects such as the Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia Transport Corridor Initiative. Ethiopia and Kenya are enhancing ties through high-level visits, signing new bilateral agreements, and committing to further strengthening their ties on areas such as energy, transportation, agriculture, industry, and tourism, the ambassador added. The Hawassa Industrial Park in Ethiopia has generated $20 million from exports in the last 6 months, according to General Manager Matthios Ashanafi. The park, which hosts mainly textile and garment products, has attracted global companies from America, China, India, Sri Lanka, and local manufacturers. About 22 international textile and garment manufacturers have signed contracts to operate within the park, with 19 already are operating. Many of these companies have penetrated European and African markets. The park has also benefited the local community with over 25,000 local teas, gaining experience and skills from these global manufacturers. And the park efforts have contributed to the country's textile and garment industry.
The Aksumite Empire was a naval and trading power that ruled the region from about 400 BC into the 10th century AD. Aksum was described as one of the 4 great powers of its time, the others being Persia, Rome, and China. The Ark of the Covenant is said to be hidden in the Church of St. Mary of Zion, but replicas of the Tabot are kept in every Ethiopian Orthodox church. Outside the church there is the famous Northern Stele field. The numerous monolithic columns, or stele, are fashioned out of solid granite. It remains a mystery by whom and for what purpose they were made, although they were likely associated with the burials of emperors. The largest monolith in the world, measuring over 33 meters and weighing about 500 tons, fell in the 4th century AD and now lies in broken fragments on the ground.
UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Ethiopia reaffirmed commitment to mobilize resources to address the 2024 humanitarian needs in Ethiopia. Ramiz Alakbarov also called upon other international partners to take their fair share in efforts geared towards tackling climate, drought, and conflict-induced humanitarian needs in Ethiopia. Shagai Mata has more.
Shock, drought, and conflict are among the major drivers that have left the lives of millions in Ethiopia dependent to humanitarian assistance. Although the government has claimed that it has been trying its level best to address such humanitarian needs, the role of international partners still plays significant proportion to the crisis. Last month, the Ethiopian government and humanitarian partners issued the 2024 Ethiopian Humanitarian Response Plan, costed $3.24 billion that targets millions with multi-sectoral assistance, including internally displaced people. The UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in Ethiopia, Ramiz Alakbarov, expresses his commitment to mobilize the government and partners' support for the year 2024 and to address climate and drought-induced vulnerable communities.
I'm firm believer that we need to mobilize it. It is also an important way of conveying a message that what the actual needs are. Because frankly speaking, we are facing a situation with the droughts, the climate change. Ethiopia is one of the 10 top countries who are affected by the climate change. Climate adaptation requires programming, it requires investments, and that's what we're working on. We need more solar power, more sustainable sources of energy, more clean water, and more durable solutions. That means moving away from traditional way of doing humanitarian work towards sustainable solutions.
Alakbarov also indicated that other partners have to play their role as it benefits all the community. However, he added, aid distribution must ensure transparency.
At the United Nations, we do advocate that such sectors as social development, health, agriculture, centrality of the food systems to the economic growth and recovery of the affected regions is something which benefits all citizens and therefore has not to have any conditions, except, of course, normal requirements of transparency and accountability. Because the aid distribution and aid delivery, provision of cash assistance and various elements have to follow, obviously, the standards of transparency and accountability.
He further commended measures taken by the government and supports anti-lasting peace restores in the country.
Ethiopia is important from the regional and global perspective. Ethiopia is a cornerstone of stability in Africa and a cornerstone of stability around the globe. That's why commitment of the partners to the peace process and to the peace dividend is unwaverable. The fact that we still do have pockets of conflicts in various places is very unfortunate. We do recognize the ongoing efforts on building peace, and we would like to support those peace efforts wherever we can and whenever we can by providing peace dividend.
$1 billion is being mobilized jointly by different partners, which will come into effect in the coming few months, according to the humanitarian coordinator.
An entrepreneur and community organizer urged the Ethiopian diaspora to stand by their nation more than ever before. Approached by EBC World, Kyle Herbie indicated that when such a massive force unites for the peace and prosperity of the nation, no earthly force can stop it from restoring the glory which ancient Ethiopia enjoyed in the past. Tegasar Nasa takes it from here.
Ethiopia's uniqueness emanates from the fact that the country is one of the countries that remains uncolonized by Western countries, while successfully staying untouched by its influences. The country prides itself of 16 intangible UNESCO-inscribed heritage across the nation. Talking to EBC's Addis Dialogue weekly program, leader, entrepreneur, and community organizer Caleb Monheil stated that the strategic position of Ethiopia creates a conducive economic opportunity.
As a native of Haiti, descendant of Africa, Ethiopia plays a major role in history for us and history of the world in general, I should say. Ethiopia is the birthplace of great science, culture, art, religious, and the list goes on. Many nations have use Ethiopia as a platform to develop their nations, and pretty much after they have everything set up for themselves, they have left Ethiopia behind. Ethiopia is so rich in economic opportunities, culture, and the strategic position in the Horn of Africa. I believe that once Ethiopia is awake, Ethiopia will be a giant in the region.
The Ethiopian diaspora scattered across the globe is a force to reckon with when it comes to promoting the image of the country and helping it get off the ground to new heights. Monel is of the opinion that such menace force of diaspora is unstoppable.
We're looking at the people of Ethiopia, the history behind them, the resiliency that they have. I mean, it's amazing. Let alone look at the diaspora of Ethiopia throughout the world. There's no way you can measure the abundance of wealth, knowledge, and power that they have. Once we can get that power and that wealth and understanding from the diaspora of Ethiopia throughout the world to line up behind the country, there's nothing that could stop Ethiopia from becoming what Ethiopia was born to be.
With regard to Ethiopia's quest to access sea outlet, Monel stressed that the initiative helps speed up interconnectedness and trade among countries of the continent. He says when it sees the light of the day, the initiative also facilitates sharing of resources among Africans.
And I think the other thing we need to look at in Ethiopia is also what is it that in the region that we can offer to each other. I don't think we need to go too far out of the continent to find the solution that we need. We have among ourselves the various nations in Africa. If we do the proper trade and import, export, and commerce, we have enough to support each other. We have enough to grow together. We have enough to move forward together and eventually make our ancestors proud of us.
As Ethiopia's opportunity grows, Monel says the country needs to come up with newest strategies to fit the challenges that might occur.
The 13th African Games officially kicked off in Accra, Ghana, bringing together tens of thousands of athletes, officials, and sports fans across the continent to celebrate the prestigious event. The Ethiopian delegation is expected to take part in 9 disciplines, of which the U20 women's football remains the most anticipated contest. The team was led by the reigning world U20 5,000 meters champion Medina Isa, who won the gold medal in 15:04.32, and was followed by the 18-year Burtukan Mola, who took silver in 15:05.32. Was world U20 5,000 meters silver medalist Malkanat Wudu selling the podium 3 finishes in 15.0704. World 3,000 steeplechase record holder Beatrice Chib-Koche and the lone Kenyan representative in the race finished the stand 4th in 15.13.71. Was Burundian Francis Neo Mukuzi coming home in 5th place in 15.33.17. The 13th African Games under the theme of Experience the African Dream will be marked by the participation of over 4,000 athletes from 54 countries of the continent competing in 29 sport disciplines.